is the third installment in the Thor trilogy, which is part of Marvel's ever-expanding cinematic universe. It's also easily the best Marvel movie I've ever seen. Directed by Taika Waititi and written by Eric Pearson, Craig Kyle, and Christopher Yost, Thor Ragnarok managed to be one of the most entertaining movie-watching experiences of the year.
So much has happened since I last saw you. I lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh. And then I went on a journey of self-discovery, where I met you.
Chris Hemsworth is once again back as Thor, the God of Thunder. Now, admittedly, I'm a little behind on my Marvel Cinematic Universe material. I've said in the past, like during the Spider-Man review, I'm not the biggest of Marvel fans. I like a couple of their movies. I've actually seen the first Thor movie and Avengers 1, but I haven't been a devoted Marvel Cinematic Universe buff like the rest of them. So I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to be able to follow this. And I'm happy to report it really does a good job of keeping us non-Marvel Cinematic Universe buffs in the know. It's a pretty simple plot. Thor, when the movie opens, is investigating a vision he's seen of Ragnarok, the destruction of Asgard, the home world of Thor, Loki, and all of the Norse gods. That's kind of it. That's all you really need to know going in. A lot of other stuff happens, including the resurrection of sorts. She wasn't really dead, of Thor's sister, the goddess of death, who wants to take over Asgard and rule the universe.
Asgard is dead. And it'll be reborn in my image. I thought you'd be glad to see me.
I really appreciated its ability to make sure that those who aren't indoctrinated into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and don't know a lot about it know enough to not only follow the plot, but have a great time watching it. I don't believe in a perfect movie. I don't think it exists. I think any movie you watch is gonna have its faults. But when thinking about Thor Ragnarok in terms of reviewing it, I had a very hard time putting to words what I feel, because everything that this movie is trying to do, it does it perfectly. It tries to be a funny movie, and it beyond succeeds at that. It is one of the funniest movies I've seen in a very long time. I find that with Marvel movies, like in comparison, I thought that Spider-Man Homecoming was very funny, but it tried to have these weird, like overly dramatic, like intense moments, like the arguments between Stark and Spider-Man, and it almost kind of messed with that tone. When I come to a Marvel movie, I want to be entertained. I want it to be funny. And Thor knows that it's supposed to be funny before it's supposed to be serious. Like, every dramatic moment, per se, is almost immediately followed with a joke. And the good thing is that the movie keeps it constant. It doesn't try and have a big dramatic climax. It has a fun, silly climax. And it's hilarious. It's a very funny movie. Branching out on the idea of humor, there's one person in particular that I was beyond excited to see in this movie. And that is the glorious meme that is Jeff Goldblum. For those of you who don't know Jeff Goldblum, he was in Jurassic Park, and he does this all the time. He says a lot, and he's very weird. Yes, see? Yeah, chaos theory. And admittedly, that was one of the only reasons I was like, oh my god, I have to see this movie. Because Jeff Goldblum. And he plays this over-the-top, like, lord of this second dimension. And it's just big and stupid. And he's having such a fun time with it. I love Jeff Goldblum so much. There's a lot of people who think he's kind of creepy. I think he's one of the funniest actors there is. One of the actual lines is he's introducing through without giving too much of the plot away, there is a giant battle arena that Thor finds himself at where he has to fight. It's kind of supposed to be a surprise, but it's in the trailers. He has to fight the Incredible Hulk. And Jeff Goldblum gets to say, and here is your champion, the Incredible Hulk. And he just... Jeff Goldblum!
Yeah.
Praise the Goldblum! I love that man!
Yeah.
And it just... Everyone in that cast is having such a fun time with this movie. Mark Ruffalo as Hulk is just a blast. Well, it has a lot of funny moments. It also has not a serious tone, but an ability to, within the realms of its plot, develop characters. One of the things I said to the friend who I saw this film with was, because again, a lot of my friends are Marvel fans, and I'm like not the biggest Marvel fan, and so they were very angry when I said that I did not like Spider-Man: Homecoming because there was a lack of, I felt there was a lack of character development. And in this movie, there's character development. You connect with these characters. Heck, they develop Hulk, not Bruce Banner. They actually do character development for the big hulking monster side. Like, he has feelings. They develop characters. And you connect with these people. I connected with Thor because he's freaking awesome. Character development. It was great. I was glad to see character development in a Marvel movie. Usually it's all just jokes. But this movie balanced the jokes with actual real character development. And I loved it. Also, the action in this movie is some of the best Marvel action sequences I've ever seen. They're big, they're fun, and they're dumb. But in all of the right ways. It's CG, but the CG is gorgeous. Thor, it just, again, it almost ties back to comedy in the sense that Thor has so many one-liners during his action sequences. It's great. And I mean, the opening and closing action sequences are set to Thunderstruck by AC/DC. And I guess that's taking a page out of the Guardians of the Galaxy's playbook. Like, hey, let's have some 80s music in our action sequences. But that's why I love Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's awesome. The action is awesome. It's such a fun movie.
To prevent Ragnarok, the end of everything. So I'm putting together a team. Like the old days.
Thor Ragnarok is a brilliant comic book movie. It's incredibly funny sense of humor, genuine character development, great cast, and phenomenally fun action sequences make it one of the most entertaining movies of the year. A 5 out of 5.